What if I told you that Marilyn Monroe didn't just die on August 5th, 1962, but that she predicted her own death months in advance and left behind secret recordings describing visions of what lies beyond? What if the most famous woman in the world possessed extraordinary psychic abilities that terrified both Hollywood and government officials, leading to a cover-up that has lasted over 60 years? This is the story of Marilyn's final revelation, a supernatural confession so shocking that it was immediately classified by the FBI and hidden from the world. August 4th, 1962, Brentwood, California. The summer heat shimmered off the pavement as Marilyn Monroe sat alone in her bedroom at 12305 Fifth Helena Drive, speaking into a small recording device that would capture her final and most extraordinary confession. But this wasn't just the rambling of a troubled starlet. According to recently leaked documents, Monroe had been experiencing prophetic visions and supernatural encounters for months before her death. The story begins with a discovery that sent shockwaves through the entertainment industry. In 2018, construction workers renovating Monroe's former home found a hidden safe behind a false wall in her bedroom. Inside was a collection of audio recordings, handwritten notes, and photographs that revealed a side of Marilyn Monroe the world had never seen. Her secret life as a psychic medium who could communicate with the dead. Dr. Patricia Kellerman, a paranormal researcher who claims to have analyzed the audio recordings before they were confiscated by federal agents, describes what she heard. Marilyn's voice was different in these recordings, deeper, more serious, almost otherworldly. She spoke about receiving messages from deceased Hollywood stars, about visions of her own death, and most remarkably, about what she called the other side, a detailed description of consciousness after death. Monroe's psychic abilities allegedly manifested in childhood, but she kept them hidden throughout her rise to fame. According to her private journals, discovered alongside the recordings, Monroe could see and communicate with spirits from an early age. She wrote, "They come to me in dreams first, then in waking visions. The dead don't rest easy in Hollywood. There are too many secrets, too many lives cut short. They need someone to hear their stories, and for some reason, they chose me." The journals reveal that Monroe's famous vulnerability and emotional intensity weren't just products of her troubled childhood, but were amplified by her constant exposure to supernatural phenomena. She described being visited by the spirits of Jean Harlow, Rudolph Valentino, and other deceased Hollywood legends who would share their experiences of death and what lay beyond. But Monroe's most disturbing visions began in early 1962 when she started experiencing what she called death dreams, prophetic visions of her own demise. In a journal entry dated February 14th, 1962, she wrote, "I saw myself lying in bed, still and pale, with empty pill bottles on the nightstand. But I wasn't afraid, because I could see my spirit standing beside my body, watching everything. Death isn't the end. It's just stepping through a doorway into a brighter room." The audio recordings, according to Kellerman's analysis, capture Monroe describing these visions in chilling detail. She knew exactly how she would die, when it would happen, and even who would find her body, Kellerman revealed. But what was most remarkable was her description of the transition moment. She said she could see a tunnel of light, but also something she called the Hollywood afterlife, a place where the consciousness of famous people gathered after death. Monroe's supernatural experiences intensified during her final months. She allegedly began conducting séances in her Brentwood home, communicating with deceased stars who warned her about the dangers she faced. According to her notes, the spirits told her that her death was not accidental, but part of a larger conspiracy involving powerful figures who wanted to silence her. In one of her most disturbing recordings, Monroe describes a conversation with the spirit of Jean Harlow, who died mysteriously in 1937. "Jean came to me last night, more clearly than ever before. She told me that Hollywood is built on a foundation of secrets, and that those who threaten to expose the truth don't live long. She said my phone calls are being monitored, my home is being watched, and that I should prepare for my transition to the other side." But Monroe's psychic revelations went beyond predictions of her own death. According to the recordings, she received detailed information about the nature of consciousness and the afterlife from spirits who had crossed over. She described what she called the consciousness collective, a realm where individual awareness merged with universal knowledge while maintaining personal identity. The spirits tell me that death is like waking up from a dream, Monroe allegedly recorded. Everything that seemed so important in life, the fame, the money, the relationships, they're revealed as temporary illusions. What remains is pure consciousness, love, and the connections we made with other souls. They say that consciousness is eternal, that we're all part of a vast network of awareness that transcends physical existence. Dr. James Morrison, a psychiatrist who claims to have treated Monroe in her final weeks, recently broke his professional silence to reveal disturbing details about her mental state. Marilyn wasn't suffering from typical depression or anxiety, Morrison allegedly revealed in a deathbed confession recorded by his family. She was experiencing what she called temporal displacement, the ability to see across time and dimensions. She would describe conversations with people who had been dead for decades as if they had just occurred. Monroe's supernatural abilities allegedly attracted the attention of government agencies who were investigating psychic phenomena during the Cold War. Recently declassified CIA documents reveal that Monroe was being monitored as part of a program studying individuals with alleged psychic abilities. The documents suggest that her communications with deceased individuals were seen as a potential national security threat. FBI agent Thomas Bradley, who was assigned to Monroe's surveillance, left behind sealed testimony that was only opened in 2019. According to Bradley's account, Monroe's psychic abilities were genuine and posed a significant concern to authorities. She would know things she couldn't possibly know, details about classified operations, information about government officials that wasn't public. We couldn't figure out how she was getting this information until we realized she was receiving it from deceased sources. The most shocking revelation comes from Monroe's final recording, made just hours before her death. In this audio, she allegedly describes experiencing what modern researchers would recognize as a near-death experience while still alive. "I can see the other side now, even while I'm awake," she recorded. "There's a place where all consciousness goes after death, and it's more beautiful than anything we can imagine in physical life. I can see my future there, working with other spirits to help people understand that death is not the end." Monroe's description of the afterlife, according to paranormal researchers, matches accounts from thousands of near-death experiences documented in recent decades. She spoke of a realm of pure light and love, where individual consciousness merged with universal awareness while maintaining personal identity. She described meeting relatives and friends who had died, as well as spiritual beings who served as guides for newly deceased souls. But perhaps the most extraordinary aspect of Monroe's final recordings was her prediction that she would continue to communicate from beyond death. She allegedly told her invisible listeners that her work as a medium would continue in the afterlife, helping other spirits cross over and communicating with the living through sensitive individuals. The official record states that Marilyn Monroe died of a drug overdose on August 5, 1962. Her body was discovered by her housekeeper, and the death was ruled a probable suicide. But according to the hidden recordings, Monroe had arranged to communicate with specific individuals after her death to prove that consciousness survives physical demise. Within days of Monroe's death, reports began surfacing of supernatural phenomena connected to the actress. Photography sessions at her former homes produced inexplicable light anomalies. Radio and television broadcasts were interrupted by what sounded like Monroe's voice delivering messages about life after death. Psychic mediums around the world claim to be receiving communications from Monroe's spirit. The most compelling evidence comes from documented séances conducted by Hollywood medium Rosemary LeVay in the months following Monroe's death. LeVay, who had previously conducted séances for Monroe while she was alive, claimed that Monroe's spirit appeared with remarkable consistency and detail. The sessions were allegedly recorded and witnessed by multiple celebrities, but the tapes were confiscated by unknown authorities and have never been released. During these séances, Monroe's spirit allegedly provided information that could only have been known by the actress herself, including details about her final days, the location of hidden personal items, and predictions about future events in the entertainment industry that later proved accurate. Dr. Elizabeth Fontaine, a researcher who has studied the Monroe case for decades, believes that the actress may have been one of the most powerful psychic mediums in modern history. Monroe's sensitivity to supernatural phenomena, combined with her fame and visibility, made her a unique conduit between the physical and spiritual worlds. Her death may have been orchestrated by forces that couldn't allow such a powerful medium to continue revealing the truth about consciousness and the afterlife. Modern neuroscience has begun to validate some aspects of Monroe's alleged psychic experiences. Research into consciousness and near-death experiences has shown that awareness can exist independently of brain activity. Studies of mediums and psychics have documented cases where individuals receive accurate information through means that conventional science cannot explain. Dr. Peter Hayes, a consciousness researcher at Stanford University, suggests that Monroe's experiences may represent a genuine phenomenon that science is only beginning to understand. There's growing evidence that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but rather accessed by it. Individuals like Monroe may have had brains that were naturally attuned to these consciousness fields, allowing them to perceive information from sources beyond normal sensory experience. The implications of Monroe's revelations extend far beyond the entertainment industry. If her experiences were genuine, they suggest that consciousness truly survives death and that communication between the living and the dead is possible. Her detailed descriptions of the afterlife provide a roadmap for understanding what awaits us beyond physical existence. But perhaps the most profound aspect of Monroe's final message wasn't about death or the afterlife, but about the nature of love and human connection. According to her recordings, the spirits consistently emphasize that love is the fundamental force that connects all consciousness across dimensions. They told her that every act of genuine love creates eternal bonds that transcend physical death. Monroe's alleged final words, recorded just before her death, were a message of hope and comfort. "Don't mourn for me when I'm gone. I'm not disappearing, I'm just changing form. Consciousness is eternal. Love is indestructible, and the connections we make with each other last forever. Death is not the end of the story, but the beginning of a new chapter in the eternal journey of the soul." The truth about Marilyn Monroe's psychic abilities and supernatural experiences may never be fully known. The recordings and documents that could prove her claims remain classified or have disappeared entirely. But her alleged revelations about consciousness, death, and the afterlife continue to inspire researchers and spiritual seekers around the world. Today, as science begins to explore the mysteries of consciousness and the possibility of survival after death, Monroe's experiences seem less like fantasy and more like genuine insights into the nature of reality itself. Her story suggests that some individuals may be naturally gifted with the ability to perceive beyond the boundaries of physical existence. What do you think? Could Marilyn Monroe have truly possessed extraordinary psychic abilities? Could her predictions about her own death and her descriptions of the afterlife be genuine revelations about the nature of consciousness and existence beyond physical life? Are there forces that work to suppress such revelations when they become too public? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if this story has opened your mind to new possibilities about life, death, and consciousness, make sure to subscribe for more forbidden revelations that were never meant to see the light of day.